Welcome everybody on YouTube and on Twitch and whatever else, I don't know, to the world of Q&Asa, where the past and the present and the future of gaming all converge, and I accidentally press the wrong button and lose chat completely, which can't happen on this show because chat's absolutely an essential part of this show. It is a big conversation. We talk about games. You talk to me, you talk to each other, and it flows back and forth like that and ends up all off the rails and complete nonsense most of the time, but it's an enjoyable complete nonsense, or at least I hope it is. And I hope you're all doing well. I can see some things. I'm missing some things. Oh, my chat's not working at all. That's fine. I don't need it. It's just said the opposite. I do need it, but I've got good enough chat. I'm missing Twitch. Twitch don't love me anyway, so that's fine. Chronic, Stephen, and Isla, and my bot. I can see that you're all here. Today I started really late. And that's because my children were driving fancy supercars, which was very nice for them. Nobody crashed and died or anything, so all very exciting. They drove a Ferrari. What was the Ferrari? I don't even know. And a Lamborghini with a name that was Italian that I don't want to try and pronounce because, you know, I will look stupid. And yes, Chronic, I have lost my marbles. Not entirely convinced I ever had them in the first place. Talk to me. I'm not even going to run through how the show works. We don't need to know how the show works. Everybody that's here knows how the show works. Some more people might come along and join in. I kind of need that to happen to make the show work because, you know, it's how a conversation usually unfurls. But there's some people here and you've been playing games and you can tell me about them, and I can tell you about my experiences with the week of games as well. I have, as most of you here know, I have been working full-time and losing many precious hours that I would normally spend playing games, so the list, it's a little bit shorter, but I have managed to get some good gaming time in and some bad gaming time in and some stuff in between as well. So I need to put trigger warnings on my car pictures. Trigger warnings for you, Chronic, that they might not be rotated correctly. Or was there something else amiss within those pictures? Yeah, thanks for rotating those for me. I'm very lazy. But it is what it is. They had fun. Tell me about some of the stuff that you've been playing. I know, Chronic, you've had some time. I've seen you in the streaming lounge. I've not been in enough to talk to you like I should do. But I know that you've been in there and playing some things. That's good coffee. I miss good coffee. Get crap coffee at work. No, I actually get kind of reasonable coffee at work now, but not as good as this. So I'm going to tell you what I've been playing because, you know, that's a part of it as well. I have been playing Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess. Not that much, but I played it some, and it was... Uh-oh, your phone's buffering. I think it's just your phone. I think the stream is okay. Which is fine. It is real. I'm not saying it's not real. Definitely believe that it's happening on your phone, but it is not cause for alarm and panic, and it looks fine on your laptop, so that's fine. Yeah, Kunitsugami, which you probably... rotation issues. Dave Mac forced you to play Call of Duty Zombies. Please tell me if you had any fun with that, Chronic. I need to know. I suspect that we'll be forced onto some Call of Duty tomorrow as part of the community games. I can't promise it will happen more than once though, because Call of Duty is on my list as well. But I'll loop back round to that in a minute, because first I'm going to talk about Kunitsugami. Kunitsugami I didn't stream, so because I only played it in some obscure hour where it wouldn't have made sense to stream, but I can bring up a trailer or something. That's not how you type, and that's not the correct window to type. This stuff's really difficult. Everything is really difficult. Yeah. On the plus side, I had the name correct, which is good enough. 1 month ago, this is the trailer that I want then. This will be fairly fresh and current. Let's see if it plays correctly or if nothing comes up. Yeah, spirograph and logo. That's what I was expecting to see. And the game starts off with you playing as this this fella. In fact, I think the entire game has you playing as this fella. But the combat that it's showing on screen at the moment might look fairly dynamic and elaborate, but it feels kind of floaty and odd. Not terrible, but not brilliant either. But that is only one small part of the game. One small part of the game. Have any of you played this yet? A lot of what it's showing here is from the kind of intro sequence of the game. And I've not played all that far beyond it. I have got beyond the intro, but not far on enough to know whether the game gets good or not. It's an odd one. Because the setting is weird. Your character dances around and cleans corruption with a feather duster in the daytime. So this is the loop of the game. In the daytime, you go around cleaning stuff with a feather duster and collecting the resource. It's only got a couple of resources the game uses, but you collect the primary resource that spews out when you clean up corruption. And then you spend it, during the daytime, you spend it to either arm the people that you've rescued. So there'll be a small number of villagers and you can turn them into whatever combat class you want. So you arm your little people and you position them around the map. And you clean Path of the Goddess. Your mission is to carve a path. The path is very clear. It's a straight line between the goddess who's at the start of the level and the demon gate thing at the end of the level. So you have to spend your resource to do that when you've got enough. When nighttime comes about, which is on a timer, when nighttime comes about, all the demons start spewing out the gate. So they start spewing out the gate. You get to get involved and do the floaty combat if you want to. And your villagers will also engage things within whatever radius they've got for their class. Monster's intention as they spew through the gate is to get to the goddess and make her dead, I assume. I don't know, they didn't really get close to do anything to the goddess for me to see how it actually plays out if they get there. You get a warning on the screen that says, oh, they're getting pretty close. But that's as close as they got. So I don't actually know what the fail condition is. I assume they lick her face and then she's dead. But, don't know. And as you kill those monsters, they drop more of the resource. So when it loops back round to the next day, there's usually a little bit more corruption to clean that seems to grow overnight, and you've got more of the resource from the events that transpired. So then you use those to upgrade your villagers some more and to carve more of the path of the goddess. Repeat until she gets to the end. And that's fine. That's like a reasonable loop. Evening, Dave. What have you been playing? You've been playing Call of Duty. Chronic's been playing Call of Duty. He played Zombies with you, and he said that he hated it, and he's finding it difficult to forgive you. He hasn't said that yet, but he will say that in a minute. What have you been playing, Eiley? Yes, share it with the group. And Stephen Southwick, you got your partner Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for her birthday months ago, and she still hasn't played it. She can hear this, please convince her that she should play it. If she remotely likes Final Fantasy VII, Rebirth is brilliant and very, very long. If she doesn't start now, she may not finish it before she dies, so get on it. You might regret it at times, but overall it's a really damn good game. Really damn good game, and that was very persuasive, am I right? It's working. It's working. She's gone to play it right now. I know I would. How am I doing you dirty? No, it's a prediction, Chronic. That's what I'm expecting you to say. Anyway, Konitsugami, it's weird. You have a feather duster, you dance around. It's very... I'm gonna say you'd only get a game like that out of Japan. It's not necessarily strictly true, but I certainly wouldn't expect anything that look and feels like that out of like America or the West, you know. It's quite unusual and very Capcom. But I don't know if it's any good. I haven't decided. It's reviewed pretty well, and it's exposed me to like elements of it that look like they might have some quite fun depth and quite fun opportunity to choose how you upgrade your army and what kind of skills you get and how you deploy them later on. It might be quite nice, but it wasn't. No element of it alone was particularly satisfying. The combat wasn't great, and the tower defense kind of setup was it was only okay. And perhaps more importantly, it didn't give me anything that said it's going to get deeper, it's going to get more gripping, and it's got any kind of story to follow in particular. It does have a light story, but it seemed very light. So I don't know. I'm in a weird place with that game because I don't dislike it, but I don't know if I have the time or energy to go back to it. And if this game had come out like 15 years ago or 10 years ago, like before subscription services and all the rest of it, I would probably put a whole lot more time into it to discover what makes it tick and what makes it good and what makes it worth that level of time. I kind of feel like I probably should give it a bit more time and see how it unfolds. I'm just not sure that I'm going to. So that's I don't know on that one. Let me tell you about my experience with Call of Duty though, which I'm more certain of. So Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 dropped on Game Pass in the week. Guess what flavor hula hoops you got? I know you were, so you begrudgingly played Humanity. I know that, but the crowd didn't know that, so, you know, I wanted you to have the moment of big reveal. Pete, you finished Humanity in the end, didn't you? And enjoyed it as far as I know. Anyway, yeah, I fired up Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 after months of downloading. It came out maybe on Wednesday, so obviously I haven't literally been downloading it for months, but it was a very large download that I left running for a very long time. Fired it up. It's Call of Duty. People love it. I do not like Call of Duty, never have particularly. Nobody would expect me to be giving this game positive feedback, but you're entirely correct. This feedback is not going to be very positive, but let me tell you about my experience with Call of Duty, because I fired it up. It gave me like privacy user kind of agreements, like games sometimes do. The irritating ones where it makes you scroll all the way to the bottom before you're allowed to press accept. Okay, I'll do that. Oh, there's another one. I'll do that. Not going to hold it against it too much. Some good games have these stupid end user license agreements and stuff like that. Skill issue, no, Dave. I clicked them really well, scrolled down really quickly, got through clicking those buttons pretty skillfully, and accepted the terms and conditions and got into the first of the please buy the battle pass menus. It plays some trailer. I can't remember if this is before the battle pass menus or after, but it plays some little like hype trailer, which was dog quality, like it was awful quality. I guess they didn't want to push it up beyond the 500 gigabytes it always said it already takes. So it's a horribly compressed little video that plays. Doesn't make the game look very good at all, but it's there. It plays out. It put up, I think, 4 different screens trying to encourage me into getting the battle pass. Get the battle pass? No. But have you seen the battle pass? No. It's season 3 of the battle pass. Have you had a look and you can do? No. So I got through all of those. That was brilliant. And then it comes onto its main menu, and the main menu is a crock of shite as well. So it's like, here's a main menu of a game that's got massive mainstream appeal, but the main menu is apparently not intuitive enough for you to find your way around, so we need to give you a tooltip, tell you where to go. And it gave me 4 or 5 different tooltips going, here's like this kind of menu, here's how you get into a game, here's how you buy the battle pass, here's the options, and all of this stuff. So I'm clicking through. Fine, I got through it. I've got the game, I can go to play. There's some game modes, none of them particularly stand out. I went into, I think it was an 8 versus 8 mode of some type. And it scans through, finding a match, going by like, oh, is it going to be under 3 seconds, 3 milliseconds of ping? No, none of them. Under 15? No, none of them. Under 25? No, none of them. Under 40? Yes, we got you a game. Stuck me in a lobby. It did. Call of Duty lobbies. Notorious around the world and have been for the last 20 years. They're not better, as far as I can tell. So, get into this lobby, and the first thing I hear is about 5 different 12-year-olds mouthing each other off in the way that you'd expect from Call of Duty. Just trying to get attention, and then talking about their cocks, as 12-year-olds do. And then some woman said, I know a lot about cocks, I've got 6 children. And I just, Alt and F4, that game is closed. Why, by default, does it think that I would want to listen to people? The people that talk in online games are pricks. If you talk in online games, I'm sorry, but I have to include you in that blanket statement. because that is my experience of online games, and that was my experience of Call of Duty. I had no interest in entering a game with those people. They put stealth in humanity? That's outrageous. Yeah, I was going to say I'm glad you hate it, but I'm not. I'd rather you were having a really good time with the game. Yeah, that was my experience of Call of Duty. It closed. I have not got as far. I have not got as far as launching into a game and seeing if my mouse sensitivity feels about right or not. So, proximity chat can be funny as hell. Proximity chat's different. I appreciate that can enhance a game. Does Modern Warfare 3 have that? Super Dander, I haven't followed that story closely, but you could be right. You could be right. Yep. As for casuals who don't know how to enable the voice audio, leave it up so that skilled users can mute the noise. No. It should be the other way around. It should be opt-in because the only people talking are dickheads. But I did spend like a good solid 2 days downloading this thing, and we are going to play it as part of the community games tomorrow at some point. I am going to try Call of Duty. I really want to play a shooting game. I haven't found one that I'm remotely competent at. Any shooting game will be more fun if I get like some level of competency. So I need one that's enticing enough that I stick with it for long enough to reach a certain level of skill where I feel like it's worth playing. I never last on them for very no. I mean, I want to do a competitive one, Chronic. Co-op ones like Remnant 2 and stuff like that, they're fine. I like them. I'll play those too. But I want like a comfort violence competitive game. I freaking hated Apex, JT. I did not enjoy our time with that. We played, it was a really short amount of time that we played. But actual combat encounters within that stream probably amounted to about 1.5 minutes. I'm going to say about 1.5 minutes. Running around the open map and playing with zip lines, maybe 25 minutes. 1.5 minutes of gunplay. Battle Royale is not going to be it. I like Battle Royale in that it's very small numbered teams, so I can potentially play it without needing many people to kind of team up with. You start playing Valorant. Valorant's really good on PC. I can't imagine trying to play it with a controller. It also has a very sweaty, nasty community. So Stephen, Doom 2016 had multiplayer, but it wasn't particularly good. It's close. It does some things really well, but it doesn't feel as good as the Doom single player. Doom Eternal has asymmetrical multiplayer, which I'm not typically a fan of either. So you have one person as the Slayer, or is it? It's one Slayer and 4 demons, or I don't know. But it's not like a fair fight. Which brings me on to actually. Shall I do this now? Yeah, let's talk right now. Design like your ideal shooter for me, please. Just yell things out. What kind of tropes do you look for in a shooting game? What makes them fun? I'll tell you mine, but I want you to yell me some as well, because that's more interesting. One of them for me is always, I don't like camouflage. And that's a specifically me thing. Some people either don't care or do. I do not like camouflage. I like to have very visually distinct, identifiable friends and foes. Which army uniform is designed not to be. That's literally the purpose of camouflage, is that you can't see people very clearly. I want to be able to see my opponents very clearly and know exactly who I'm shooting. Painful Discourse, you've got Space Marine on the 360, and it's simple, fun, and a good purchase. So are you looking forward to Space Marine 2 then, I assume? So yeah, me, very clear, visually distinct friends and foes. I want that. But that's just, I've said many times before, I do not pass camouflage. I am quite particular in what what kind of visual aesthetic is something I can respond to well and react to well. And like Quake 3 had it, Halo Infinite has it. Things like Overwatch and stuff arguably have it. Nice, clear, concise, red outlined enemies, that works. But Overwatch leads me on to another thing that I'm not a massive fan of. I'm not a massive fan of heroes and hero shooters. So classes and like differentiation between the skill sets of the players that are playing. I much prefer like even ground fighting. It happened again. You bent it back. Oh, your mouse bent. Stop being so strong, I guess. Limbs flying off like the old Soldier of Fortune games. Yeah, I mean, I would say for me, I'm neither for or against the violence. I always like, I'm talking competitive games more so at the moment when I talk about the tropes and the things that make one good for you, but you can do the same kind of conversation on single player ones, and Soldier of Fortune was notorious for exploding limbs and all the rest of it, wasn't it? I'm not a massive fan at all. Human. Yeah, heroes. Because I grew up on like Quake 3 Arena, where you start with a basic gauntlet and a machine gun, and everything else is fair game on the ground. You have to get it before your opponents do. Read it again. I don't understand. What have I read wrong? It says your mouse bent, you bent it back. What did I read wrong? What did I read wrong? You're not a massive fan. I did read that. Very confusing. Chronicles of Riddick, I've always heard good things about that as well. So, I prefer, yeah, even starts, even weapons. Everybody's on like same boat, head into a fight like that. And I like, this is again me being particular, I like certain types of movement. I like quite a lot of speed and agility, but not glitch movement like Call of Duty has, where it's going to a slide and jump at the right time, cancel, reload nonsense, like crap movement. And not Overwatch has a lot of characters that move differently. I find Overwatch quite difficult to path and track all the different characters because they all move differently, but they're also like swatting flies sometimes. I'm coming back to Quake 3, really. Quake 3 had, if you wanted to move fast, which you often did, then you moved with momentum because you had to do it strafe jumping. So speed came with a certain amount of vulnerability and a certain amount of predictability. And that made it, I don't know, it just really damn well worked well in that game. And there's not really many that have captured that since. Super Dan, they're large player lobbies, 100 large player maps, battlefieldish, and vehicles. See, those are all things that I don't like. I like them in theory, I like them aesthetically, I like the spectacle, but I don't have fun when I'm playing them. Battlefield being the most obvious example, because there's cool stuff that other people are doing, but I don't have a good time playing those games, and it's technically really impressive and I kind of love it, but I don't actually have fun playing them. And even so far as when I play like Halo Infinite, the 12v12 is not as fun as the smaller modes to me, because you're just less and less consequential. The more you scale up the battle, the less the individual player really matters. So I respect the big ones, but I don't actually think they play out better. This is like my list of things that I want specifically from a shooter. And I don't think there is one that quite ticks all of the boxes for what I want to play at the moment. Which is a shame. I have simple tastes, but they're not well catered for at the moment. Closest one I still think at the moment is probably Halo. If you were to put up like a wish list, then there's certain things I love, deforming terrain and destruction and all that kind of stuff, which Halo very much doesn't have. Titanfall 2, but were people actually playing it? Titanfall 2 had, actually, it's not a bad example of when I was talking about the momentum and the movement stuff that you're having in Quake, a lot of the movement in Titanfall did come with that kind of trade-off. Like if you're wall running, then you are locked on a path to some degree, and you're going to wall run. It's the best way to get around, but it does have an innate like trade-off and vulnerability that goes alongside it. So Titanfall, obviously, it was camouflage, so I don't like the camouflage side of it, but it did a lot else very right. It also had invisibility to really take the piss. Like camouflage is annoying, invisibility is 10 times as annoying. But yes, Titanfall 2 did a lot that I liked, and Titanfall 1 for the multiplayer definitely does need people playing it. Pete, dinner calls, enjoy. I don't know what I'll be doing when you get back. Normally on a Saturday I have been playing games with Tony, but Tony doesn't think he's going to be available today, so I have to reassess that one. Figure it out afterwards. But Alone in the Dark on the 360. I've been looking Painful Discourse. I know that the 360 store is closing down soon, but you get the modded 360s that have like the whole catalogue of games. No, we don't need more questions, it's fine. You have the modded 360 that has all of the games already installed. And obviously some would call that piracy. It's not the bad kind of piracy. It's not, that kind of emulation is fine. They're literally closing the store, so that counts as ethical preservation and emulation of games. I'm quite tempted to get one of those before the thing goes. I assume the price of those and the value of those will go up over time once the digital store is closed. Plus it will have all of the things. I like the back compatibility of the Series X and whatnot. I'll play games on there if they're available, but there are quite a lot of games that aren't available. So this stuff is dirt cheap at the moment. Yeah, I can believe it. Painful Discourse. The other issue that I have though is my Xbox 360 is a launch model Xbox 360 that doesn't have an HDMI port. And I'm sure adapters from its component port are like not that terrible to try and get a hold of, but just having an HDMI port would be easier. Anyway, that's that. Shout out more things about your competitive shooting games, but I want to talk about as well the just kind of connecting the topics of how games were on the 360 and first-person shooters and the experience that I just had with Call of Duty and people being dickheads. Do you remember when the Xbox 360 came out and Xbox Live was like a fairly premium paid-for service? It's controversial now to pay for online, right? It sucks to pay for online now when other people are not. But back when the 360 came out, there was some value to Xbox Live, and one of the things that it did really well was, or tried, like, I really liked the attempt, maybe more so than the execution, and I wish it would come back because they could probably do it better now. But it had its reputation system. So like these are system level features that would carry across all of the different games you played. It had a reputation system, so if you were getting negative feedback from everyone, then your little dial would go down and it would say this guy's a prick, and that could impact your ability to find games and all the rest of it. But it also had like a 4-point choice of what kind of player you considered yourself to be. I can't remember the categories you could select, but it was like competitive. Winning is like all that I care about, probably going to be a dickhead. Social, I'm here to meet people and have a nice time. And then I can't remember the 4 categories, but you would select which group you fell into, and in theory that was supposed to be considered for all of the matchmaking. So it would put the people that are gonna sweat against each other, and the people that were more amicable would be together, and the people that didn't like communicating at all, they'd probably have their own category, they'd go together. And that's a really nice idea. I'd much rather play with like-minded people. And I think it probably eventually got removed because much as Xbox were putting these features at the system level, other companies had their own ideas for how matchmaking should work, which is fair enough. But like there was a big pushback from the likes of EA because they didn't want to use Xbox's servers and infrastructure for FIFA. They wanted to host their own servers, and back in those days, Microsoft wouldn't allow anyone to host their own servers. You had to use the Xbox servers if you wanted online functionality on the Xbox. And it got so far as EA saying that they were not going to put FIFA and Madden on Xbox if they couldn't use their own servers. Eventually, Microsoft kind of bent the knee on that one and let them use their own servers, and in doing so had to let everybody else use their own servers as well. Which long term, this is not a bad thing, right? Long term, closed platforms aren't particularly wholesome. So other publishers being able to put up servers is not actually a bad thing, but we did lose out on this reputation system and this kind of categorization of what kind of experience you were looking for. And the true skill matchmaking, things like that were supposed to run across all of these games that just wouldn't work anymore, because if you've got kind of a bunch of games that just opt out of supporting these features, then these features lose value, and they lost value so much that they disappeared. But I want them back. I would so like to be able to filter, especially on a big game like Call of Duty that has plenty of players. I would love to be able to filter it to people that aren't dickheads. That's all I want. People that aren't dickheads. Give me other people that aren't dickheads, and I will like your game so much more. So that would be a wonderful feature to include in any kind of game. It'd be nice if it was a system level feature that you could just carry across all of your games, but I'd accept it as a particular big game, just having that kind of thing in there. Wish list for me. What else have I played? What else have you played? I played... I know I didn't really play Call of Duty, so it doesn't really count as one that I've played, but I played... I'm playing Doom Eternal, so I finished Doom 2016, and I might have mentioned this on last week's show, so I'll be really, really brief. I finished Doom 2016, that was brilliant, loved it. Finishes quite abruptly on what you might consider a cliffhanger. It's not exactly story heavy, so the cliff is quite small, but it leaves you hanging off of like, I don't know, like a first story window hanger. You know, you're like, I might fall and bruise my knee or something. It leaves on that kind of note. And then Doom Eternal starts a fair distance afterwards. A lot has happened, and I'm not sure it actually particularly picks up the threads of Doom 2016. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I can't really remember how it plays out. It definitely is connected in some ways, but it's a fair jump from where 2016 leaves off. But it was also very, very different in style. I like Doom Eternal a lot. It runs brilliantly. It feels really nice to play. Just Doom's like up there really high on my list of shooters that I like, and doesn't seem capable of falling from that because it's just so damn good. But Doom Eternal isn't as good as 2016 to me. Like, it's not objectively worse than 2016, but subjectively I prefer what 2016 was doing. I prefer the simplicity of it over what Doom does. The stuff that they add, the movement and the more complicated weaving of abilities and utility is cool, but is less to my tastes. You beat the stealth level, good job. Joe, you want maps that aren't designed for esports? No 3 corridor show. What games do you play that have good maps? Actually, I know that there is a lot technically that goes into map design to make one actually fun to play, and I have very little understanding of how to go about doing that. Like, if I were to design a map, it would probably be terrible because I fundamentally don't have a good understanding of what actually makes one good and what makes one boring. I get the various things that, like the considerations that are going into it, the choke points and encounter rates and sight lines and all of this kind of stuff, but I don't know what constitutes fun in making a map, how you make one brilliant. And really, like, the obvious way to approach that would be to figure out a game that I'm going to play enough to enjoy, figure out which maps are fun to me, and kind of study what it is that sets them apart from the other maps. But I probably get it wrong. I'm not sure I like the same things as other people, so that's a tricky one. Chronic, you're really looking forward to the new Doom. Looks a much better pace for you. It looks, I'm hoping that it brings it back to Doom 2016. From what they've said, and they talk about it more in terms of like the older Dooms, the kind of bullet hell environment and what made them, but I think the way they talk is still fairly in line with the way that Doom 2016 plays. Like, it sounds like they're talking relative to Eternal when they talk about they talk a lot about the different kinds of movement, don't they? And that they possibly overdid it a bit on Doom Eternal, which I agree with. Stephen, you want buffs every time you get killed because you're terrible, and it may make you less terrible. But are you actually... So, Stephen, why are you terrible? What is it that makes you terrible? Are you lacking the reflexes, the coordination, or is it something that... are you tactically oblivious? That's my biggest weakness. I mean, no, actually. I can't aim for shit and I'm tactically oblivious. But also, I like to tell myself that one of the reasons that I'm terrible is... I just don't invest enough time to actually get good at a game. And I was pretty good at Quake 3 when I played that. But I played it a lot. A lot. So, I don't know what it would take for me to feel like I was making progress in a game these days. I don't think I've played them long enough. All of the things you said, you used to be okay, but you're too slow now. See, I don't feel slower. Like in anything, but I'm an idiot. I still fight people that are half my age, and I don't feel less capable than when I was 20 or something. There might actually be some measurable decline, but I don't acknowledge it. So I don't know about that. I don't know. Believe in yourself, Stephen, and you can achieve 13th place. Out of 12. No, you can do it, Stephen. We can all do it. Just, you know, I need to find the right game and actually play it. To that end, I've asked Tony to play some more Overwatch with me, and I'm not sure that Overwatch is the one, because as I said not long ago, hero shooters not so much. Not so much what I like. Eyes. Yeah. And Overwatch is obviously very much a hero shooter. I think visually it's nice and clean and easy to recognize what's happening, but it's a lot of noise, a lot of tactical awareness, situational awareness, listening to cues and understanding. Like, there's a lot of learning that would go into being good at Overwatch, really. Recognizing what the various shout-outs actually mean and what how you're supposed to respond. But I want to learn. I want a comfort violence. Speaking of, though, comfort, the other game that I've been playing is in the background right now. I've been playing a little bit of World of Warcraft. A very little bit. A very light touch. Little bit of World of Warcraft. Stephen, you can't beat your 10-year-old at Halo. That's... I probably can't beat your 10-year-old at Halo either. So, you know. Wait a minute, my TV just turned off. Chronic, you don't think it's a decline, but rather younger folks are growing up with faster games, so are better adjusted to them. That's what you tell yourself. Nah. Their games aren't faster than Quake 3. Call of Duty is a nonsense. The way that people play that is horrid to watch, but Fortnite isn't faster than Quake 3. And Call of Duty, I don't think it's... Yeah, I don't think it's faster. It's gross, and it has its own, like, the pacing is very different, so you could say it's got... Like, time to kill is faster, so there are certain aspects of it. Things happen quicker. But it's not quicker, if that makes sense, which it doesn't really, but it does to me. I know what I'm talking about, and that counts for something. That counts for something. Yeah, World of Warcraft I've been playing. World of Warcraft has, its next expansion comes out, I think it's in August, The War Within starts, and this is the trilogy expansion, so part 1 of their planned 3 expansion story, which is quite a big deal for Warcraft. It's a new thing. Normally an expansion is an expansion rather than a big story told over 3 parts. It's quite exciting in that sense, in terms of having a vision for a game like that and a story they really want to tell. But the first part of it is coming, and the pre-patch came out on the 24th, whatever day that was, not very long ago, which means the basic systems of the game, most of them are now readied for the expansion, and certain bits of content are going to start popping up that lead into the expansion. None of that means anything to me because I haven't played the last 2 expansions, but I did I logged on to my original character, my shaman, just to have a look and try and figure out if the game is good or not. And all that really means is I looked into the options you have around building a character on that game, how you spec them up, how you handle their talent trees and stuff, which is something that has changed drastically over time in World of Warcraft, but something that loads of games kind of have an equivalent of. Like RPGs and things, loads of them have an equivalent where you're building your character and you're choosing specific perks in how you build it towards your playstyle. And Warcraft over the years has had times where it's been quite good at it and times where it's been quite awful at it, and different kind of design concepts and theories going into it. Lots of iteration and learnings based on feedback and how things have played out over time. So it makes like quite a cool study in what's good for a game and what isn't, but I already have quite particular opinions anyway. I've said before, I really freaking hate it when a game gives me a choice between like nothing that I care about. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I loved Rebirth, I said that, and if your other half is still listening, Stephen, she should still go and play it, but don't expect interesting talent choices, because that has an example of what I hate, where the choice will be like 3% extra damage when you're in your secondary stance and you are attacking the left testicle. And it's like situational and not significant. Like a tiny number. Don't give me 4% extra anything, because that makes no difference to me. The gameplay is exactly the same as far as I'm concerned. They're having a hard time with the warband stuff, like the shared bank. A hard time in what sense, Cullen Prime? I saw that pop up. It told me that it's a thing, but I haven't played it for the last 2 expansions, so I don't really know what it's getting at and how significant that is. But yeah, tiny changes to stats, little percentages, or here's an extra 5 strength if you pick this one, as opposed to the 3% extra fire damage. I think stupid like that. I hate insignificant choices that have no in-your-face impact to the way that you're playing. And the concept being Amazon's New World was very bad for this as well. It had really minor, boring perks all through it, and the concepts, like, there's multiple reasons to do that. Partly you can say once you've got like 50 of these kind of talents doing various small things, actually it's you're materially more powerful. Bullshit. Like, needs to be noticeable. I need to feel the choices that are made for them to be interesting. The other really key reason that they're always so minor is to make sure that they don't accidentally include anything wildly out of balance. So it turns out that if you have like 100% combat speed and also you pick something else, then you've totally broken the game. So it's part of it is playing it safe, and part of it is it's just playing it safe, really. But I hate it. World of Warcraft used to have some of that. The original iteration of it had like, you'd spend your 50 points and some of them would be like you get something worthwhile like a new skill, and some of them would be 1% extra nature damage, and you can put 5 points into it to get up to 5% extra nature damage, and that's useless, boring, I hate it. But Blizzard recognized that that's boring at some point, and they changed all the talent trees and stripped them right down. At one point it was literally there were like 5 choices to make for each class, and all of these choices are high impact choices. So as you level up through the game, you're hardly ever making choices, but when you do make them, they're high impact choices for your class. And people missed the old system because they liked having stuff to configure every time they leveled up. The current system is huge. There's so much in it. Particularly for the shaman that I am, the current system, you've got like a base set of talents that you have to configure for your class, which add a lot of flavor to the class, and then you've got a secondary tree that you have to configure for your specification, which is something Warcraft has always had. So my shaman could be a healer, it could be melee DPS, or it could be a ranged guy. The shaman tree stays the same, and the other one customizes a lot depending on your specialization. And this is all like proper, it's too deep and nerdy, and if you don't care about Warcraft it doesn't mean anything to you, I get that. But the point is, there is a hell of a lot of choices, like double digits in each of these trees, but most of them are freaking awesome. Like most of them are really interesting choices to make. I want that and that and that. That's going to give me an entirely different way to play to that. That's entirely different to that. But if I look down there and head towards that one, that's awesome. I can't be without that. And it's such a good talent tree. That is making me want to play the game, just to go, oh, they've figured it out. Like they know how to make compelling class and character building. There's still things that I hate about Warcraft, and things that they can't walk back. I hate dual spec in Warcraft, the ability to make all of these meaningful decisions and then unmake them because they don't suit what you're doing in the moment, lends itself to min-maxing, which I'm not a massive fan of. I'm not a big min-max fan for games like this. That makes all of the choices less compelling, but they've done so much right, and it's making me want to play it. So if anyone wants to play World of Warcraft with me, that would be awesome. That's a comfort game. It's violent, but not in the way that a competitive shooter is, so it doesn't count as violent, you know, but a different kind of comfort game that I would quite enjoy. Stephen, Cass is not happening today, so I didn't carry it in Minecraft. Tony's not here. I don't actually know what kind of games is happening after this show, but it will definitely be something. It will definitely be something. When I do play Minecraft, Isla does carry me, but my objective on Minecraft is not to be carried. It is to break away and learn the game properly. No, don't overly get carried away, Isla. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's not impossible, but I'm not sure if today's the day for it. You know. Anyway, what else was I talking about? So that's World of Warcraft. I've been playing that. What else is happening, everybody? Shall we do the topics? Are there topics today? I haven't thought about the topics whatsoever. I never do. I just go into this show to talk to you all. And usually that's enough and it carries it through. But it's got to be some. PlayStation VR 2. 350 quid in the UK, presumably on similar sales in other territories. I don't know though, because I don't live in other territories and I don't really follow Twitter and all of that kind of stuff, so I don't know. 350 quid, that's a good price. And it gets its PC compatibility on August the 6th, so that's only like a week and a bit away. Should you buy it? Probably not. Sony have made very clear that it's dead. They're not going to support it in any meaningful way. There are a couple of games. Oh, that was a little bit harsh, actually. I say probably not. Actually, everybody's... I never tell people how to spend their money if I can help it, because the value of something is very much dependent on your own priorities and circumstances. But maybe it is worth it for you, just for the games that do already exist. So all I would really say about PSVR 2 is if you're looking at it going, oh, is that worth 350 quid? You should look at what's available for it right now to make that decision. Definitely don't buy it for the future to see what may be coming over the next year or whatever else. What is available right now is what you'd have to weigh up to see the value of it, because it is a pretty good device. It's got nice colourful stuff. It does proper VR, and you could get it to play something like Gran Turismo and have a wonderful time for thousands of hours if that's your kind of thing. But if you're getting it to play, I don't know, Concord or Spider-Man 3, it's not going to do any of that. So don't buy it for the future. Might not even get the next Resident Evil game on it, and that would suck. Painful Discourse, you predicted that the only big part of PSVR 2 game will be the Horizon one. Shame it came true. Yeah, I mean, Horizon didn't do well. And I do think that kind of sealed the fate of the device. That was Like the resounding feedback was that game wasn't big enough. Wasn't big enough. Budget wasn't sufficient to make a VR game. VR games are not viable. You cannot make VR games and make any kind of return. And that's how it played out. So yeah, it is a big shame. It is a big shame. Obviously, Gran Turismo is still like the crown jewel of that device, I would say. Despite the fact that it doesn't even use the controllers, and the controllers are quite good. It is there and very playable. There are still some bits and pieces of third-party support in the pipeline, but we are not going to get the big games that people wanted to see from Sony. The only ones really funneling money into VR games are Meta. And how long they'll do that for, I don't know. But and obviously I'm a massive fan of VR, and I'm not saying, like, I'm not disparaging the technology or the devices per se, but realistic expectations, don't buy it for future games because there aren't any. Oh, Nini, I'm saying your name wrong and I apologise. How's it going? Good evening. What have you been playing? Bitlyris, you can't get past the motion sickness. GT7 is great though if you could play it. Travel sickness tablets, Bitlyris, are the shortcut to being able to play VR games. And I still really hope... So Gran Turismo 7 is brilliant on PSVR 2, but I still really hope for a PC version of that game that supports VR as well, because it could be even better. And Bitlyris, I am a massive sufferer of the VR motion sickness. I can't look at like a text message on a train without getting sick. So it definitely hit me the first time I was playing it. On the one hand, you can learn what makes you sick, like what actually triggers it in VR, and racing games are going to trigger it a bit. Movement, like certain things are way worse than anything else. Strafing, walking up and down stairs, turning with a stick, stuff like that, vomit box. So you can mitigate it a lot by learning the triggers, but you can also just take a shortcut and take a travel sickness tablet. You've also been playing Space Marine 1. You're the second person to say that today. Do you think that Space Marine 1 holds up as well? And Isla, you're stuck in stealth missions again. Stealth does suck. I've never played the first Space Marine. I probably should. I reckon if I play the first one, then I might be able to partake in the excitement for the second one in the same way that other people do. Because the second one I'm not sold on yet from what I've seen of the gameplay. It looks a little bit heavy and cumbersome. But I thought, like, the first one is probably heavy and cumbersome, and maybe if I played it and enjoyed it, then I'd look at the second one in a different light. I'm optimistic. Like, I want the second one to be as good as people are hoping for. Obviously, I want good games, everybody does, but I'm not sold on it from the gameplay that we've seen. Got co-op, though. Co-op makes everything a million times better. What else was there? So that was PSVR 2. Not much to say about that. Anything else happened this week? Call of Duty came out. That's terrible. We'll play it tomorrow. Wouldn't it be weird if it turns out that I enjoy Call of Duty? So you reckon Space Marine does hold up today? Okay. I should try and get hold of that before they close that story. Is the 360 the best way to play it? Tricky. What else? So Call of Duty came out. No, that's it. That's all that's happened. Space Denizen, long time no see. You are madly in love with the VR in general. You've been playing anything good these last days that we haven't seen you? Painful Discourse, it has an arcade vibe to it, but you just like Warhammer. I'm still scared of Warhammer. Some of your moves and actions feel like they have weight and impact. Yeah, and I'm terrified of Warhammer because I think I would love it. But it's big and broad and would take a lot of time to, and like, if I did love it, then how would I ever fit that in? You only play Elden Ring VR now. Interesting. Elden Ring's what's his face? That's just a Luke Ross one, right? So it's still just a controller game, but you are in VR. Does that run well? Because I couldn't get Elden Ring to run particularly well in pancake mode when I played that. Not sure I'd enjoy the stutter in a headset, but maybe it's all good now. And you've been playing the No Man's Sky update. Yeah, No Man's Sky had that huge update. There's a VR game and a half, probably. Another one that I'm scared of for size, but not like a small fraction of my fear of Warhammer. No Man's Sky looks awesome now. Oh, you're playing Elden Ring VR co-op. That's awesome. Actually, that's awesome. I should do more of these interesting things. Are you playing, when you play it with the controller and you're playing it in VR, are you doing third person or first? So now obviously, like the way that Elden Ring plays with its roll dodging and all the rest of it, third would probably make the most sense, but first person would make more sense for my treadmill. So I could run around before dying in many different ways. Am I picking up the Alien VR game coming later this year? Obviously, yes, if I can. My problem with the Alien VR game is it's Quest only, right? And I can't remember if that is one of the Quest 3 only games. The Batman game is Quest 3 only. The Alien one might be Quest 2 and 3. I don't have a Quest 3. I have a Quest Pro, which complicates things. The Alien one's coming to other platforms, isn't it? It's coming to Steam VR, so I'll get it. I'll get it for sure. Absolutely. I should Google that to make sure my cognitive faculties are diminished to this small. I think the Alien one is a PSVR 2, Steam and Quest release, in which case I will get the Steam version. I am trying to. I've got a job going on now, so when there are things that I want to support like that, I will do so. And VR games are obviously a thing that I would support wherever I can, and do want to actually play it. So no, Chronic, it's not an age issue. It's because of the wine and lack of sleep and many things that aren't directly age related. So plus, I think I was also like, I say diminished, I think it started small. Unreal Engine 5. I'm not sure if I take that as a positive, particularly for VR. I've not really seen, obviously the modded games like Pancake Unreal Engine 5 games are a thing, and you see the demands of the engine there. I've not actually seen its VR capabilities as such to know whether that's a positive or a negative. Oh, Ella, I'm not a genie. Ultra Wall, Firewall Ultra. I don't know, maybe. That wasn't a brilliant game though. Is that what you mean by Ultra Wall, or is there a game actually called Ultra Wall? No, Chronic, I will never get to the acceptance stage. That's not true, there's a fair chance that I will. There's a fair chance that I will, and there's a fair chance that now I'm spending 1 million hours a day sat in a chair. It's going to accelerate me towards that destination. You call it Ultra, fair enough, fair enough. It's a shame that game wasn't really good. So that's the experience playing it. Yeah. Yeah. Don't say that. What, that I'm not a genie? What else have we got? Too many games to play, too little time. You're working 60, 70 hours a week. Too tired to play after. Yeah, I've got relatively long days of working. I still do my martial arts stuff like as much as I can. I've got family. I've got this really irritating human need to sleep, which I hate. So I don't know, I talk about all these things that I want to do and I don't really know when to do them, but I'm trying. Tomorrow I'm going to play loads of stuff. loads of stuff. I'm not even going to finish my Final Fantasy VII, let alone get anywhere on World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV, let alone get good at a shooting game. Let alone get my VR on and my treadmill. I need to. I've got at the moment my VR treadmill that I love so much has got an Xbox controller on it, a copy of Final Fantasy 9 and 7, and Asheron's Call 2, and some discarded cardboard. It's very sad. I need to sort that stuff out and get on with playing some things. I've not even played the Blade and Sorcery version 1 yet, and I love Blade and Sorcery. I see Tony and people like that playing VR in Discord as well. I want to play VR with them. Sitting for a living is not good for longevity. I know, Bitlurist, I know. I've always, for my whole adult life, tried not to have days where it's like all I do is sit. So I need to maintain that. But can I do it? Yeah, I can, maybe. So, I think, were there any other topics? Marvel Rivals, that came out. People seem to like it. Doesn't look good to me still. Doesn't look good to me. But I might play it, you know, I'm sure a lot of other people are going to play it. It's got that free-to-play thing going on. I'm actually still maybe morbidly curious about Concord. I didn't enjoy it when I played it, but I don't know what the deal is. You want to play Rivals so bad? Why? Why do you want to play Rivals so bad? What makes it good? Are you an Overwatch fan or any of these other kind of hero shooters? The thing that makes me what's the word? I don't know. Not particularly enthusiastic about it is that it looks like so many other hero shooters, but in third person. And third person's not usually a brilliant way to play a shooting game in general. I get that they do it in Fortnite because they want to sell you cosmetics. I get that they do it in this game probably also because they want to sell you cosmetics. But outside of things like Gears, where like perspective is not the focus of the gameplay, I'm not a fan of it. Especially, like, I'm quite cynical and I see a third person free to play shooter and I kind of know that it's third person because they want you to see the character, because they want you to spend money, rather than because it makes for good gameplay. So I'm cynical. Concord has less pre-orders on Steam than most indie games. Yeah, it's really not doing well, Painful Discourse. That's why I say it's a morbid curiosity, because that thing is dying. But I don't want it to. I like that they're just charging a small amount of money for it. A small amount of money is, again, relative. Like, relative to other AAA games. Small amount of money for it. Relative to Marvel Rivals, it's an awful lot of money, because it's not free. But I'm not often a fan of the free-to-play model. You missed our conversation about what kind of tropes of shooter you look for in a game, or what would be ideal for you. Because I love me some Quake. And we were talking about that earlier, what kind of things would go into a good one. But yeah, I'm willing to try some hero shooters. What's really going to make one jump out and like be fun for me though, is if I accidentally find one that I'm somehow good at. Or one that I can stick with for long enough to get good at. Which is like, it's like looking for a needle in the haystack, but the needle doesn't actually exist. And you look anyway. So that'll be me, drowning in hay, trying to get good at a shooting game. Shall we do the questions? Yeah, we'll do the questions because I've got no others. Got no other topics that I can think of. If anything comes to mind, then I'll just throw it in randomly, or if you stuck them in the questions, then that'll work too. But what even is the time? It's 8:30. Yeah, I know I started late, but that's all right. Isla, did I ever play online flash games when that was a thing? No. I say no, that's not true. I almost certainly did at points. There would have been like times working in an office when there was no work to do because it were like Christmas or something like that, and some silly Flash games may have come up as past the time. But no, I've never been a fan of browser games in general, and that's possibly limiting myself because I'm sure some of them are actually very good. And Pete still plays browser games. He's been playing for like 100 years. So it's not that I need everything to be rendered off of a 4090 or something like that, but no, I've not really done any browser Flash games. Have any of you played any really good either Flash games or other standards, HTML5 games if you like, just browser games in general that were actually surprisingly good? While you answer that, bring me the next question. I'm gaming with passion. Am I going to try Valorant on consoles? No. Unless there's a group of people in the Gaming Arcadia Discord that want to get on it and play it on console, my preference is a keyboard and mouse. So I would rather play Valorant on PC. Unless I go through a really weird craving to play competitive games on a controller, but typically I don't. Oh, I forgot. The other thing that I don't want in shooting games, I don't want a map. I don't want a radar. This is, again, very specific to my circumstances, but at the moment when I'm playing these games, I'm playing them on a TV. And a TV is too big. Mine's not a big TV, it's a 42-inch TV, but it's not. If I'm being hyper competitive, I'd play on a smaller screen. But the main thing that I gain from a smaller screen is that it's easier to maintain awareness of what's going on in the corners of the screen, i.e. where the map is. It's easier for me to keep track of a map on a small screen than it is on a TV. But rather than play on a smaller screen, I just want to take the map away from everybody else. So I like shooting games that do not have any kind of map, compass, radar indication of where your enemies are, because I'm not using them, which puts me at a massive disadvantage. Because for me to look at it on a TV, I have to go like that. I want to go like that to keep track of where my enemies are. And if I were playing on a monitor, I wouldn't need to. I'd just like be aware because it's in my field of view constantly. So I don't like maps. Colin Prime, you're going to try anything comics related, but does it count as comics related just because it's pulled out some of the characters? It's not telling you. It's not telling you a story. It's comic related in a complete nonsense sense. All right, Marvel Rivals is. I know there was some kind of cinematic actually featuring Doctor Doom or whatever, but then you'll get into the game and you'll be on a team where Doctor Doom and Spider-Man take on Storm and what's his face, Star-Lord, and it's all complete nonsense, right? Right? Yeah. And no, I haven't answered this yet, Isla. Give me a second, I'll read it. It's from Brian Scully. Played Kanetsugami yet? Very good game. Yeah, I have, Brian, and it's not caught me yet. I want to like it. It's got something about it that makes me want to like it, but I don't like it yet. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna play beyond that to find out what makes it good. So Isla, this is a question from Isla, not a question, but you know, it's from Isla. I'd be super happy to play Minecraft in parallel and answer questions. As in, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Did I answer this one? Last chance to ask question. What do you mean? Answer what questions? Oh, I see. So while I'm figuring the game out. Yeah, I know, but I don't like using guides, do I? And you'd be like a better guide than YouTube, so. But yes, this is probably a thing that will happen. You could call it Haunted Minecraft, because you're a ghost. Yeah. Indeed. You could just tell me nothing and just kind of make spooky noises. It's possible. Like I say, Minecraft will happen at some point. I don't know if it's today, but it will happen at some point. I'm going to learn it because I feel like It's like I've never played Red Dead Redemption 2 so far. And I feel like a fraud of a gamer because that's a game that I have to have played. I have played it. I played it through the snowy part, but not really beyond. Learning Minecraft is on the same level of I'm a fraud if I haven't done that. So I have to go and play Minecraft at some point. You made a good thumbnail for it too. Yeah, it'll happen. You made me a really good Doom Eternal thumbnail as well that I've not used enough. And Battle Block Theatre with Tony, that was a good thumbnail. You've been making good thumbnails lately. Thanks. Very much appreciate. Isla has tagged Isla and said that last question wasn't supposed to be a question. Please don't post it, which is a callback to Stephen Southwick on the Xbox Series podcast in the week. Very enjoyable. Good callback. Thank you. Next one, please. They were cheese and onion, just so you know. Stephen, I think that's aimed at you, and it's very insulting. So be offended for your Thursday cheese and onion questions. Next question, please. So Gaming with Passion, you remember you made money playing browser games when you were a kid. Oh no, you were on Web3 crypto games before they were a scam. Red Dead Redemption 2 is great. You're replaying it now, but the opening in the snowy part is the worst opening. It's so slow. Yeah, so my issue with Red Dead Redemption 2 was the intro. I didn't play the first one either. Red Dead Redemption, I did play it, but it was like, go and round up some cattle. So I rounded up some cattle, and then it was like, cool, you can round up some more cattle if you want. And I said, nope. And I stopped playing that one, and I regret that I stopped playing that one. Because again, by reputation, it's brilliant, and I should have played it. And then I started Red Dead Redemption 2, and it was like, hold A to ride your horse alongside this NPC. You don't need to steer, just hold A. So I held A to ride alongside a horse. And then I had to do that again. And then it gave me a little opportunity to shoot some stuff, and like I hunted a deer, and the snow was nice, and you could like, it passed all of the snow tests in the way that you could tread through it and deform it and all the rest of it. But it was so slow, and I fell off of it. So, BitLyrist, you're also a fraud. I think everybody is a fraud. If you hold games up in those terms and say that there are some must-play games, everyone will have games that expose them as a fraud. I've got many games that I've never played. I've never played Breath of the Wild. It's still on my list of things to do. I hate Mario 64, so I'm a default fraud anyway. Hate's a strong word, probably too strong, but said it, so it's out there now. No point taking it back, because, you know. Gaming with Passion, you don't remember the name of the website, but it had a lot of games with achievements, and you get points. So did you actually make money, or did you have to spend any money to be there? Chronic, you remember playing Witcher 3 and not enjoying it. You tried it 3 times, but 20 to 30 hours each time. On the 3rd attempt, you pushed on past where you kept dropping off, and you're so glad you did. It became your game of the year. Witcher 3 is great, but didn't feel great, like combat-wise and stuff like that, so I can see why you would fall off of it. My Witcher 3 playthrough, I already loved The Witcher 1 and 2. So I had, like, it's the opposite of Kunitsugami. It already had story hooks in that made me want to get to the end. I probably would have been the same as you otherwise. I probably would have fallen off. As it happened, I played it like in real strong solid bursts for like 20-30 hours or 2 weeks or so of just playing it solidly, and then I'd go, oh, it's worn thin, and I'd take a few weeks off and then go, no, I've not finished this game that's brilliant, and I'd get back on it and do another 2 or 3 weeks and then take some off. And it took me 3 stints like that to get through The Witcher 3, and I loved it, but it did drag in places. I needed those rests to get through, and I was very satisfied by the end of it. And yet, I haven't done the 2 DLC packs, and they're supposed to be brilliant. I haven't done Heart of Stone or Blood and Wine. So much like the other games that I've mentioned. Massive fraud. Massive fraud. Game of Passion, that's it, I've already read that one. So, please, oh no, Isla, I'm still not a genie. I would manifest you getting a cap. I will pour whatever magic powers I have into it, but you know. Stephen Southwick, while I play Minecraft with McGonads in Asa. The phrasing is confusing, so I will, yes, I will. I have promised more than once. You will pour? What does it mean? Next question, please. No money spent. You were actually cheating by modifying memory to get a very high score on games that give you points when you reach a high score. So you cheated horribly and the website went out of business, shut down. I will pour. No, that just... If I said I will pour, then something got cut off from the microphone and didn't go through, which can happen sometimes. NVIDIA is trying to filter out the noise of my fan and background, and sometimes it mistakes my voice as being an actual robot and cuts bits out. You meant when I play it on CAS. Q&Asa streams is not a real thing, Stephen Southwick. I don't acknowledge that as the actual title of the streams. I don't acknowledge the concept or theory or idea that I'm not contributing to the games that we play. Just to put that out there. Okay, I think I put it out there. Just James, sorry you're late. Someone drove in to the, I thought I said ice lab, kebab place. 6 police cars, 3 ambulances, 2 fire engines, and 2 air helicopters. All queuing for a kebab. It must be a damn fine kebab place. I said pour and then paused. Did I? Did I? I believe you. I remember nothing though. Oh, was that all of the questions? James, you've got here just as the show finishes. Typical, eh? Typical. Yeah. I see. I understand what's happening, Isla. I understand. You can have whatever kind of pour you prefer. At least you made it. That you did. That you did. And to be fair, I was pretty late myself, so I'm not criticizing. Right, that is the end of this week's show. There is going to be some kind of... Don't be sad. Don't be sad. There is going to be some kind of stream next. I'm not certain what yet. I need to think about it. I need to catch up on what everyone's doing and what's happening. Yeah, you can rewind. I think we had some reasonable conversations today, which is nice. Your head still hurts. Yeah. I have no solution. Drink water and sleep. So, we've reached the end of Q&A, so there will be more this week. I don't know. Everything's so difficult. I don't know what podcasts are on this week. I'm away Thursday and Friday this coming week, which impacts certain things. I've got no idea if Tuesday's podcast is happening, so let's just assume that it is. You should turn up on Tuesday in the hopes that there's lots of cool stuff to talk about. There will be games played, some on this channel, some on the Asa Games channel. Tony is putting together another channel where he puts his quite entertaining edited clips of various streams and things. So I will find that and share that as well, because that's cool. Those are fun to watch. And that's about it. So now I'm going to press the button that ends it all. Pete, you just came back in time for the finish. Thank you for coming back. You missed everything, and it's a travesty.